this morning,
Weekend was
I
ruined
I
today.
sent you a DM, I think at 7 a.m. Let's do something crazy and let's rebuild the entire studio.
You sent a photo of like one extension cable. I was like, what are we doing?
So I took a long extension cable, made a picture, sent that at 7 a.m. and it's now sort of 4 p.m. local time. So we
Yeah,
had quite some
I
preparation.
will be done in 15 minutes from now.
And then the story of like your life is
Yeah.
that we started with
We
four
did
cameras,
pro cameras, capture cards,
capture cards,
and the latest
long
macOS.
HDMI
Yeah.
cables, and what we're doing now is just iPhones.
One iPhone. Yeah.
We're gonna mix in one extra camera just for an overview shot.
Yeah. So what you're looking at right now is just an iPhone with continuity camera.
So
Wireless.
this is a wireless camera using continuity camera, which is just more than enough for what we're trying to do here.
And mind blowing that it actually works. It's a lifesaver.
Let's start at the start. So we're gonna geek about an hour about video.
Yeah.
We had a really big release last week called Detail Multiplayer for iOS, and most of today is going to be about what we built for iPhone and how we can use the multiplayer feature in all kinds of different ways.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with like a very basic run through of what you can do with multiplayer on iPhone. We're just going to run you through it, like the basic features and how it works. Then we're going to show you how you can use the new multiplayer feature in a setup where you shoot by yourself. So talking video, for example, a course or a top-down shot or reaction video or doing an unpacking video in a really engaging way. I have a little challenge for you, Frank. I'm not sure how well you're prepared for this.
I was afraid you were going to do this.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. So you actually, can you switch the scene to my iPhone?
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of this podcast called Ritual. And not because the content is great, or not alone because the content is great, but this is just the money shot, right? This is just
The podcast of podcasts.
they really show how you can build like an amazing, like different picture. So close up of the person being interviewed in this case, and then a wide angle overview shot. So my challenge for you, Frank, is can we make that today?
Of course. Let's build that.
Cool. So that's gonna be the money shot at the end of this episode. Before we're just gonna quickly run through how things work, do the little sort of shoot by yourself and how you can use detail for iOS for that. But this is the end game. This is what I want to have at the end of this.
I got you.
Roughly 60 minutes.
I got you.
No pressure. Detail multiplayer.
Amazing. We have two iPhones, wireless connection. Your iPhone is hooked up to the Mac, so we can actually screen capture.
Cool. Let's just this is where we get a little bit funky. I'm just gonna grab the other iPhone. I have this little mount that I really like, and it's a credit card size. Like, where's this camera? So this is a credit card size foldable little table tripod. And I've been using these a lot because I keep my phone on my desk, especially while I'm testing as such. And it just it's just sticks with MagSafe. And this is where inception happens, right? So we're trying to demo detail. We've been struggling a lot to actually explain how this works because typically when we show the screen, it's just really hard. Let's get started. So I open detail on two iPhones. And this is the detail app as you for iOS, as you might know it. We make it really easy to record single player. So this is a quick investor update that I recorded. The teleprompter, hide that. I can switch between different layouts. So for example, put myself in the shot or do a split screen. I'm just going to start with single. I can select the different canvas and play with the layouts. But it's just a really simple way to record a talking video. So if you want to quickly record yourself and do a scripted video, this is your app. So Detail for iOS. Now, the magic happens when I actually want to record, for example, a podcast or at a second camera angle. I tap the connect icon. Now it's searching. Both of these iPhones have a cable connected, but it's just because then we can demo them on the screen. Right, so we have a screen recording. So now we have two iPhones. So this is the other iPhone, and it was actually so snappy, they're already connected. So two iPhones are on the table. I'm in one shot. Frank is in the other one, but I'm actually also in the other shot. And you can see like a little preview label at the top. So this is Frank. And now if I press record on one of these devices, the other one instantly starts recording as well. I just used one hand, trust me, I didn't touch both of them. And we're recording video on both of these. Now, if I stop recording, you notice the progress indicator at the top, and it automatically synced the video and audio. So I just recorded with these two iPhones from two different angles, and we have high quality video in both of these timelines. So that automatically synced. Now I can go back in time and I can actually change, for example, the layouts. So I'm changing, making some splits, swapping the layout to, for example, a split screen like the other iPhone. And I'm swapping to Frank on this shot, and I go back to myself. Now I have video timeline, and I can instantly export this video. I can also add captions to it, for example, or change the different layouts. So now I'm generating captions, and I have different caption styles, and these show up on the video, export the video, and I'm done. So this is a really quick overview of what we've done with multiplayer. Now, the reason why we think this is really exciting is because it really helps you to record high quality video with just two iPhones. It could be two iPhones, it could be an iPhone and an iPad, and technically it could even be your iPhone and your MacBook. And today we want to show some use cases on how that can be really valuable to take that old iPhone out of a drawer and start recording if you record by yourself. And we're going to show that money shot from Ritual, hopefully, by recording with an iPhone in a podcast setting. And that means that we talk about audio quality, we talk about external microphones, how we sync the high quality audio, and how you can just build quick setups without investing a ton in equipment. So we go from all these, like the start, getting started without any effort, to the very advanced money shot from Ritual.
I'm getting already the first question. If we can are we doing questions? This one we can do it. Landscape, of course.
The icons are rotated. I'm just, if I press record now, it's going to record the
horizontal video.
Yeah, landscape.
So
video
landscape, definitely. Good question. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's get started. So we started with this like little corner, and this is where we had the idea of doing multiple cameras and going crazy with the setup. Or we're just going to do a little move because we're going to move to the next setup. Look at Frank and his little card. Oh, I need to move with you, Frank.
Yeah,
There we go.
Wireless.
So this is like a little first corner, typical couch setup. And now we move to Frank's. If you haven't seen our YouTube channel,
My geek channel.
Yeah, we're pretty active on our channel, trying to explain as much about product and video as we can. And this is a pretty familiar setup. It's, well, before we actually moved everything around this morning. But this is Frank's desk. I don't feel like I can sit here, Frank. I think this is your spot. I feel like this is where you have to
I'm operating camera.
So if you just sit here, I'll take over.
Basically, if you would have one or two iOS devices, you can already create a multi-cam situation where you have one camera top down, for example.
Yeah, but that's where we came in, right? So we built like a Mac app, and our Mac app makes it easier to connect multiple cameras. Could be multiple iPhones, could be external cameras. And then when they're connected, you can actually start recording very quickly.
Yeah.
Right. But we also discovered that most of the folks that come to us to, for example, upgrade a video podcast or to record like videos for YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, they don't like sort of, it's not behind the desktop setup.
Yeah.
And often sort of, it's just still too complicated.
Yeah.
So that's why the multicam is interesting, because suddenly there's these types of videos where you talk to a camera, where you do like interview type setups, or if you want to create showcase things, you can mix in another angle. So let's start with two things. Let's show how you can make an unpacking setup using just two iPhones. So in the meantime, I got a question. One of my phones mirrors the screen when connected to detail. We often get that question about mirroring iPhones or screens. The thing is, in detail itself, we don't show your camera mirrored. So we are not mirroring the actual preview. If you open the detailed camera in Zoom or Google Meet, the self view is mirrored. And then suddenly the picture that you're looking at looks mirrored, but what other people see from you is not mirrored. So when it looks mirrored, it might actually not be mirrored because we, at least in detail, don't mirror the video output. And do we bump our heads a lot? I don't, but I'm not that tall. Frank a little bit more. But it is pretty it's pretty wide. It looks narrow, but it's just to get this from attic. It's a little bit like the garage story, from attic to being successful, hopefully. So Frank, how are we doing?
We have a decent setup here. So we have the main camera. So that's going to be my main talking head camera.
Yeah.
And if I want to unpack something, I have my top-down shot.
Cool. This is the top down.
Yeah, and we have to say I'm doing a screen capture of the Detail app, so you can actually
Yeah, this is what detail for iOS looks like,
Yeah.
right? And now there's like the both iPhones are connected.
Yeah, with a cable.
Yeah, can you show me what it looks like if we do like so let's just switch the layout myself. So I'm gonna just show you that there's two cameras. It's a little bit more. Wow, inception my arm. So what you now see is the bottom is the iPhone that's hovering above the desk. So there's an iPhone here, iPhone floating above the desk. And funny thing, we mounted that with just show you. We mounted this with a little table fan. You can find a lot of these on Amazon, pretty affordable. Or you just use duct tape, stick it to the ceiling, do whatever you prefer. But sort of, I think table mount or a little tripod, something flexible works well. And this one is table mounted, so it's super stable, and it creates a lot of empty space around the iPhone as well. So table, then this is the iPhone 1 connected, the other iPhone or both iPhones. And now I'm again sort of, I can't see myself, so I can also switch it to the selfie camera. So I'm just going to rotate it, switch my camera. Now I can see myself on the screen as well. So I have myself in shot and the overview. And now again, sort of if we show both iPhones, if I press record, both of these will start recording. And then there's a preview label at the top of the, so if you look at the left, there's a split view. And then at the top of the table view, there's actually a preview label. And because this iPhone is wirelessly, the top one is wirelessly streaming to the other device. There's a little bit of lag as well. Not sure how that comes across while live streaming as well. But I stopped recording, and now the preview video is syncing and it's getting replaced with the high quality footage. So I just did like a really quick like top-down shot. I don't have to stick to the actual footage because I can easily change the layout after recording. So switch to the front, toggle the layout to get the top-down view, and I can add captions and start making cuts for this as well. So now the captions are on the video. I start splitting, make a few splits, delete a clip, change the layout to be picture in picture as an example, swap myself, and there we go. And then I can export this. One thing that we added, a little sneak preview that we added this week, which is going to be live hopefully next week, is AI content. And we generate content suggestions based on about a minute of speech. So I'm not sure if this video recording was long enough, but we're recording suggested titles, captions, Twitter messages, and other things that you can instantly share online. So this is a little sneak preview of what's coming next. So one other thing that I would like to show is how you can use your iPhone with the rear camera and at the same time see yourself, because the rear camera of the iPhone is the better camera. It's way, way, way better than the selfie camera. But if I shoot like this, I can't see myself in the picture, so it's really hard to frame. So next up is how do we shoot with an iPhone and an iPad? It's total inception here. So we have an iPad and the iPhone. Doesn't matter which type iPad. There are a few really old models that don't have enough video support. But in general, the iPad is just like sort of most iPads are being supported. I open detail, and to be really frank, our app didn't really get optimized for the iPad layout yet. So you see like relatively small icons and we could do better. We take a lot of pride in our product. We can do a little bit better in terms of UI on this, but still, it works very well. Then I'm tapping the connect icon on the iPad as well. You can see that it starts searching. And I tap, click this one here, so it's searching. And I tap connect on the iPhone. And as you can see, it's now connected. So we have the iPhone on the left, the iPad on the right. See the little preview label at the top of the preview feed again. But now the magic is if I switch to my selfie camera or to my rear camera for the iPhone, so then just pick a single layout. And now I'm using the rear camera of the iPhone, so I can't see myself on the iPhone screen, but it makes it really easy to actually frame myself because I can see myself in the mirror on the iPad. Now, the magic of this is that whenever I start recording on the iPad, it also records on the iPhone. So I don't have to touch behind the screen to actually start the recording. I'm recording myself now, and then it's syncing the footage. So I can either use that footage directly on the iPad or go to the iPhone and use the recorded footage there. So just switching, this is the iPhone footage, and I have my iPhone recording over here. Let's quickly check for questions as well. Can you lock focus? Unfortunately, Chris, we can't lock focus yet. I think what you're seeing with the refocus is we're using continuity camera. And I think it has a little bit of issues with focus locking because of the cameras that we're showing. So we're showing a lot of iPhone devices on the screen. Yeah, so we're showing a lot of these iPhone cameras, and then it locks the face detection on the faces that you see on the iPhone screens. So there's a lot of like back and forth. I think it's one of the hardest challenges in terms of autofocus for a camera. Where did you get those mini tripods with MagSafe mounts? We should drop those in the channel afterwards. So like a nice collection. We're trying everything that we can get our hands on.
And these are actually quite cheap. They're not so
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah, so this is a sort of selfie stick. It's not extendable, but it's pretty stable. The only thing I don't like about it, if you connect a cable, it actually gets in the way of the little ball head. So that's why I use this this white one currently. But we can drop some there. We should actually just make a blog post about this as well. We have a ton of like really nice little accessories that are typically just really affordable because you don't need to spend a ton on these. Is it possible to make a tutorial video on your iPhone with the camera and the iPhone screen side by side? Or do I have to make this recording of my screen first and upload it? Unfortunately, you can't record the camera and the screen at the same time yet, or at least as far as we know. So you would have to make a screen recording, and then you can replace the background of your video afterwards or before. So you can select the video and record over it, so you see yourself on the screen. I'll just show you. So this is like the selfie view, standard view, and I can select, for example, as picture-in-picture layout, and then if I tap background and select screen recording, this is, for example, screen recording from test flight. Now you can see the screen recording. I'm swapping, so you can in the background, and it starts playing. So it previews while I'm doing this. I can also, for example, put myself on top of the screen recording, and I can also preview a little feature that's landing soon. So now I'm blurring myself in the background with a nice new blurred shape. Whenever I press record, it starts playing from the start, and I can record over this video. So this is a quick way to record a screen demo from an iPhone app or anything that you show on your screen. Now I stop recording, I can go back in time, and now after I record it, I can still replace the background of this video. So I can still go back and actually make changes to this video as well. I can change the layout, do, for example, picture-in-picture or full screen. So you can either use a screen recording that you made in advance and record over that, or you record a voiceover and then replace parts of your video with the video that you want to show in the background. I hope you will have some time to show off editing too. Cool. Yeah, we will definitely try to save some time for that as well. I think this is also a good time to actually aim for the money shot.
Yeah, we're moving.
Yeah, we're moving. So this is like some examples of things that you can do with a top-down shot or second camera angle if you shoot by yourself. And I want to show some things that we can do with the video podcast or video interview setup. So when we moved into this office or the studio, Frank built this beautiful IKEA cart. And I think it's one of the best investments that we've made so far. It's just a super
It's really coming together.
We have a Mac Mini on this, and typically we just connect cameras or setups to this. So we have one simple recording station that we can just move around. Today it comes in very handy because we move this all the way through the room while we demo different use cases. And this is another part of our studio, and this is mostly, I would say, smokes and mirrors. It looks pretty fancy, but what you're looking at is just a black wall. So this is just a wall that we painted black, just wooden panels. This is actual paper. You just have big paper walls that we put up with a table. And then there's one big light source over here. Typically there's a lot that you can do with natural light, but because we're hosting other people here as well, we have a few big soft boxes that we can use for setups like this. So it feels a little bit like cheating. This is going to be our sit-down session and talk a bit more about recording video podcasts and interviews. So here we are in our paper studio. What I would love to do is talk through, if you want to record a video podcast with your iPhone, where do you start? This is indeed, Chris, this is indeed an IKEA table. And the reason why we like this one is because it's like solid wood, one of the few solid wood tables that you can get at IKEA. And it has like this little, little gutter between the two panels. So we can easily hide cables. And then we drilled a few holes for microphones and such. So if you want to get started with a video podcast, number one thing that you would have to invest in is audio. Doesn't mean that you can't capture great conversations without audio, but audio is critical, especially if you want to record long form podcasts. So we have a few different options if you record with an iPhone. We're just going to quickly talk through the different options at different budgets as well. And with detail for iOS, because we do 2-camera recording, you can now also record with 2 USB microphones. Different options for microphones. So first of all, there's a built-in microphone in your iPhone, and you don't necessarily need to upgrade anything if you want to record just a casual conversation. Often people forget that some of these external microphones might actually be worse than the built-in quality of noise cancellation of your iPhone. But some really simple options are the external wired earbuds. So the old school Apple earphones, they have a nice little microphone. Quality is meh, but it's flexible and it's really cheap. You might have some of these laying around. You can plug that straight into the iPhone. Then this is a Rode NT USB Mini, which is a nice little wired USB microphone. And if you have an iPhone 15, the real magic comes that you can plug these straight into your iPhone. So you can use any USB-C cable and just plug the microphone straight into the iPhone. So that's a great example. And then this is a classic. This is the Blue Yeti condenser microphone, USB, and you can plug this into an iPhone with the USB-C cable, or you use the Apple camera adapter. So this is an Apple Lightning. So if you have an older iPhone, you have a Lightning port. This Lightning port goes into your iPhone, and then there's a USB connector on the other side. So the Apple Lightning adapter, Apple Lightning camera adapter, is actually a great way to connect any USB microphone to your iPhone. Now, why do I talk about USB microphones? If you record with detail and 2 iPhones, we not only record the high quality video, but we also record the audio.
And the multi-channel audio.
Multi-channel audio. So you have audio from iPhone 1 and audio from iPhone 2. Whenever you stop recording, both the video and the audio tracks will get synced and automatically aligned. And that means that you have 2 great audio sources if you connect 2 USB microphones. So you don't need like a expensive audio switcher you can actually just connect two USB microphones to each of the iPhones and start recording. So that's like a quick sort of, if you think about like audio setup.
Well, wait a minute. So if you have a roadcaster, you do, I mean, you have you're maybe already audio only podcast. You technically can connect it, right?
Yeah, so
That's
that's the other
yeah.
one. So like sort of then we go to like things like wireless sets.
Yeah.
So these are already more expensive. We're using those as well. I hope the audio quality is good. We're using the Rode Video Wireless Go 2, and these are the DJI mic. So other like little wireless sets. Sure, I think we're there. So wireless sets. You have two microphones and a little receiver. Receiver goes into one of the two iPhones.
So what happens if you do have XLR mics and a roadcaster?
So that's the third option. So a lot of folks that are recording a podcast want to add video to it. And adding video to your podcast means that you can just connect one of the two iPhones. If you have an iPhone 15, again, directly with a USB-C cable. So you just connect your Rode with USB-C to your iPhone 15 Pro. But if you have an iPhone with a Lightning port, you need a Lightning to USB-C cable.
Yeah, depending on which hardware vendor, you might have to use their own cable.
If you have if you're using a Rode device, you always need to use Rode cables. These are a little bit more expensive, but they work well. So this is a long cable. I can plug this into the Rodecaster and into my iPhone.
But the cool hack is if you have one of those.
Yeah.
And I think you discovered this as well.
Yeah, USB camera adapter. If you plug that in, you can use any generic USB cable to connect your Rode. I don't like cables now because I don't like cables neither. And that's also one of the reasons why we're shooting wireless with Detail. So does Detail recognize multi-track from Rodecaster or straight serial input? Currently, the Rodecaster does not output multi-channel audio to iPhone, and it only connects to the second USB port of your Rodecaster. If you connect your Rodecaster to the Mac, you can record multi-track audio. So if you use Detail for Mac, you can record multi-track audio. We record up to 14 audio tracks. If you record with Detail for iOS, we will record a stereo track from your Rode.
So actually it's because you have left and right audio.
Yeah, so there's left and right, but if I'm not mistaken, if you don't change the standard settings of the Rode, it's going to record a mix down.
Correct. So there you can record either in mono or in stereo, but it's device dependent. For example, the Boyas, the small microphones we use, they only record mono, so there's no you cannot record multi-channel. It really is device dependent.
Yeah. So, but that's another almost argument for if you, for example, sort of course, if you have a Rodecaster, you're not going to replace the Rodecaster. There's a lot of like flexibility in that thing. So if you're recording with like a Rodecaster, you're going to use that. But if you would have to start with a podcast and you want to start upgrading your audio, it could be interesting to pick one of the newer microphones, for example, from Rode that has XLR. So there is an XLR and a USB output, which means that you can use that microphone directly connected to an iPhone or a Mac without any interface. But if you would later want to add like a Rodecaster, you can still do that. So if you record with two iPhones and Detail multiplayer, we record multi-channel audio because we have two audio tracks.
So now we have, of course, too many iPhone 15s here, but if you have two of these, you're good as well. So if you, I have to demo this. This is a very viable and very cheap solution as well. We use on the first iPhone, you have one of these, and on the second as well, and we record both microphones.
Yeah, so you connect both wired AirPods or like a USB microphone. And then after recording, maybe we can show like the connections. If you open it on this iPhone, we're just going to connect. Again, we're connected with two iPhones. The iPhone in front of me is connected. My iPhone 15 is connected. And now if we would start recording, I'm recording some video. You see the preview. So the shot of me is actually the other iPhone. It's Inception. Stop recording. It's syncing the audio and the video in the background. And now I can change the volume of both microphone tracks. So I have two microphone tracks, one for each iPhone, and I can change the volume. So I actually have multi-channel audio recording for this iPhone as well. Yeah, another great example, Lucas, that's a great example. Just the Lav Plus pin mic, so you can just connect a little lavalier microphone, which is like these little microphones that you put on your shirt. You connect that to the iPhone, and you have a super portable setup. Great example. I think we this is time to actually build the money shot. Let's see if we can build our rich scroll. Go back to the YouTube video. This is what we're aiming for, right? Good question, Chris. So what if I have 3 people on my podcast? Currently, we support 2 iPhones, so you can easily record with 2 iPhones. And there's a variety of different reasons on why we decided only 2 iPhones. If you want to add a third angle, right now you can't. So in the case of 3 people on the podcast, I would probably take, if you want to shoot with 2 cameras, you just make 2 overview shots.
Sorry.
So you create 2 overview shots. For example, 1 shot with each of the 2 and another shot of the other 2. An alternative, of course, is to shoot with detail from Mac. And the detail from Mac, you can import multicam footage. So you could record with 3 iPhones, then export the footage, import that in Mac, and automatically make a timeline detail from Mac as well. If you really want 3 angles, I would say go for detail from Mac. But in most cases, you can do a lot with just those 2 iPhones as well. Just a little bit like what we're aiming for, right? So what they do really, really well is they have a wide angle or slightly wider angle overview shot. Really beautiful lighting. They sit at a table across each other. So the top shot is narrow. And then you have a close-up of the person being interviewed at the bottom. And in Ritual's case, they actually have 2 cameras, so they also switch to the other one. But if you would like to make like a video like an interview setup like this, you could make like the overview shot and the close-up of your guest in the podcast. I think we're going to use my iPhone and the other iPhone, right? Switching to our new layout. This is a Ford. Guess where we got our inspiration from. And I'm actually switching to a new shape as well, which is a blurred shape.
And then we need to change angles. Just swap them.
The angle.
Yeah, there you go.
And this instantly shows like the
flexibility.
Also the magic of the background, right? So I'm now shooting with you. There's quite a messy background.
Smoke and mirrors.
So a big part of this is, of course, like the lighting that we have in the scene and the background. And I think the wide angle is not wide enough, so we should switch to the ultra. I think we're there.
Oof.
Yeah. And I think one of the beautiful things about this is that we could have used any microphone.
Yeah.
So we can just record, for example, external USB microphone. We can hook up the Rodecaster if you want to
use these ones.
Want to get the top-notch audio quality. So this is like a typical setup. And we would connect the Rodecaster to one of the iPhones and just press record. So
easy does it. I'm pretty proud.
Yeah, and I think the magic of this, and also of course, there's like, we try to make it as easy as possible to record these types of videos. But it's also thinking about the setup. There's one big light source here, super clean background, and then we combine that with a dramatic shot.
The light doesn't help. The light helps.
The light helps. Light
but
helps.
these 2 iPhones.
And this is just iPhones.
Everybody with 2 iPhones can do this.
Yeah.
And the mouse.
Yeah. So next podcast is going to look like Ritual.
Well done.
Thank you.
Questions maybe when we get your
Yeah. So any thanks for tuning in. For fun to just run you through some of our day-to-day geeking around test shots and what we're building at detail. We're going to do these pretty often, probably like every 4 weeks. We'll just run you through like some of the features that we've built, some of the things that we're working on next. And in between the lines today, we already gave sneak preview of some of the features. One little like reveal that we can also share is that right now we make it easier to record with 2 iPhones in the same room. Next up is going to be remote recording. So you can easily share a URL, a link to someone else. They open it on their iPhone and you can record from any location. And one of the other things that we have on Mac, which is auto edit. So automatically edit the full timeline when you record the video like this, automatically switch between the different speakers.
And this works with multiple channels. So if you have 4 speakers, 4 cameras.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, and then on the iPhone, we're gonna do the same. So after you stop recording, you have a fully edited video ready to share online. And that we're gonna show more of that probably, I think, at the end of this month. That's it. Yeah. A little bit behind the scenes before sort of that's the one more thing. How did we actually do this? What was the setup that we used to record or to share like the live stream?
So we're streaming everything to Detail, and we're sending a webcam signal to OBS. Or maybe you want to.
Yeah.
So this is it's also IKEA. It's my little card. This is where we have Detail. Maybe switch layouts. With Detail, where we have all the scenes. So this is one of the. This is the continuity camera, which was saving us in all the setups. It's wireless. Let me show that. And this is so cool.
So this camera is wireless, just an iPhone, connected with your continuity camera in one of the scenes in Detail for Mac. So for this stream, we use Detail for Mac. Then there's another scene, which is my iPhone screen. So that's what I'm showing right now.
And then with the other iPhone,
Then there's the other iPhone in Frank's hand. Also in another scene.
We have a combo scene with 2 iPhones.
Combo scene with 2 iPhones. So you see both of these iPhone screens.
Yeah.
So you can see both of us. And then there's another scene, which is one camera. So we cheated with one Sony camera. So this Sony camera is the overview shot that we used a few times in between. Overview shot. And then there's a combo scene which has all 3 iPhones. So it's the continuity camera and the 2 iPhone screen shares. There's a little feature that we added to Detail for Mac, which is this iPhone screen share. So if you select a camera, you can now also select the iPhone screen as a camera. So it shows up as a camera when you connect it with a USB cable, which can be super handy if you want to do a quick product demo as well. And then that camera goes to OBS. So we use OBS for the streaming part because they have good adaptive frame rates or connections. So the iPhone or the Detail for Mac USB or the Detail for Mac camera output goes to OBS to stream to YouTube.
Easy.
That's it.
Easy.
See you next time.